Welcome along to the Timeform Sporting Life preview of the Dubai Duty Free Irish Derby Classic action at the Curragh on Sunday. We're going to preview it in the company of Kevin Clark and Ben Linfoot. The build up to this race, the betting market and the ratings dominated by one horse, as we'll see on screen through the Timeform numbers. Kieran, is this all about Auguste Rodin?
I think it is, Dave. Yeah, he put a below par effort in the Guineas behind him. Plenty have done did so from that event, didn't there? It was a pretty weird race, that Guineas this year, and he came out and won the Derby in good style. King of Steel's obviously franked the form at Ascot last week, and he had plenty of these in behind him. He looks the best 3-year-old middle distance horse around, doesn't he? And it probably is a case of he only needs to reproduce that form to give yet another Irish Derby to Aidan O'Brien. I don't know how many he's won, but I'm losing count. If he wins this, is this 100th classic in Europe? Is that right? He
was closing in on it, wasn't he? I don't think he'd be. I mean, but bizarrely, this would be Ryan Moore's first Irish Derby. When you look at the list of horses he's ridden in it, it's quite staggering, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? When you think Tuesday last year, high definition, Anthony Van Dyke, a Derby winner. He's had some pretty serious reversals in this race, Ryan Moore. But I don't think his face will ever be as long as it would be on Sunday afternoon if he got beat on Auguste Rodin, who's a 4-9 shot and shorter in places, and he really does look to have an outstanding chance here.
We're going to watch the video of him winning the Betfred Derby at Epsom. Kieran, I'm going to come to you about Auguste Rodin himself. What impressed you most with this performance?
Firstly, he's a terrifically well balanced horse, isn't he? There, you wouldn't think he's running down a camber on an undulating track. He just seems to float across the ground. But it was here that impressed me the most. You think King of Steel's got first run on him and he's going to score, and the way he picks up and goes clear, I think there's loads to like. I know that Ryan Moore said after his first, before he'd even seen a race course, he thought he was quite special, and I thought it was a brilliant ride. He didn't panic when the runner-up got first run on him, and I like what he did at the line as well. He's not stopping there, isn't he? He's probably going to stay a bit further. It's very, very hard to find holes in him. I know you found a hole in him for before the Derby scoop in terms of his price, but in terms of the horse, he looks pretty bomb-proof to me.
Let's have a look. In third and fourth there, Scoop, the grey was White Birch, Spreewell in the blue silks running into fourth. Kieran mentioned how well balanced Auguste Rodin was and how well he handled the track. That was in sharp contrast to those two.
Yeah, I mean, both pretty different in terms of what they did at Epsom. White Birch, obviously, he's always held up. He can miss the break, and he likes to come through horses, and that's his style of running. And can he close the gap? He's got over 5 lengths to make up on Auguste Rodin. Perhaps he'll have to lay up a bit closer, I would think, than he normally does. Spreewell's different because I don't think he handled Epsom at all. He seemed all at sea on the camber in the home straight, and that gives you more hope, I think, with that horse, that on a more conventional track he's got 7 lengths to find. It won't be easy, but I think there's more hope with him of overturning the form than there is with White Birch.
Okay, when you look back on that replay of that Derby, the thing that we're missing here is King of Steel, isn't it? That's the one. It's that rematch between the two at Epsom with the unexposed nature of King of Steel and what potentially still under the tank there that would have been a fascinating head-to-head in this. Yeah,
100%, and it was almost a shame that they've gone for that penalty kick at Royal Ascot. You can understand why they did, because it's turning into a bit of not the strongest of races, that, isn't it? The last few years it's not been, but hopefully they'll get to meet again later on in the season, possibly at Doncaster, who knows, but
possibly over 10 furlongs somewhere.
Do you think?
Well, they're both making noises about 10 furlongs out. They're both camps.
I'm led to believe Auguste Rodin is heading Juddmonte International if all goes well on Saturday. It'll be fascinating to see, Sunday even. So it'll be fascinating to see where they go King of Steel too.
We're blessed, really, aren't we, in this middle distance category division at this season, because there's so many that are so close together on ratings, and then Mossadaf comes along last week and muddies the waters even more. So who knows who's the best of these, but it will be fascinating when these 3-year-olds take on that older brigade, because they've already shown a very, very good level of form. It'll be interesting to see where they slot in, likes of Auguste Rodin and Paddington.
But Aidan O'Brien is not going to have a single dart at this, the Irish Derby, it's the home derby. There's plenty of others in there for the Ballydoyle team. Best of the rest for O'Brien?
Well, it's a race that he's often, taken all the medal positions with, hasn't he? I think he's had the first 4 in the Irish Derby. So I think you've got to look at the O'Brien challenge away from Auguste Rodin as well. I thought San Antonio might be one for a forecast bet potentially. I think he's around 50 to 1, 66 to 1. And he was another one who didn't handle Epsom. He was back in 11th, 16 lengths behind Auguste Rodin that day, but he hit the front with about half a mile to go and just didn't handle the camber on the home straight. And I think he's better than that. I think his Chester form tells you he's better than that. It might be a ground thing, but I think it was more of a track thing for me personally. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him bounce back and put in a much better performance. And if that's the case, he could get second or third. And I'd be thinking about that if I was looking at the exotic markets.
Ben Linford's gone exotic. Kevin, if you were to twist your arms for betting the Irish Abbey, what would you be putting up?
Sproul is, well, you could say surprisingly, but without the favourite market, White Birch is favourite and that Sproul's second favourite. And yes, you look at that Epsom form, White Birch beat him, but he came from the back. Like Scoop says, he does miss the break. Now, I've watched quite a bit of racing at the Curragh this year, and it seems like you really want to be on the speed. It is a track that is hard to come from behind, and I think he'll finish a clear second. Sproul, he's already beaten Up and Under easily.
What sort of price is he in the without the
13 to 8.
Yeah, I can see that. I think he'd be the one out of the two for me as well. White Birch and Sproul. I'd be with Sproul. So
yeah, that's probably the bet for Jesse Harrington, who's in great form as well.
Well, I think we're in agreement that Ryan Moore is set to break that remarkable Irish Derby duck with Auguste Rodin on Sunday. But a couple of interesting bets put up there by the team. Thanks to Ben and thanks to Kieran, and looking forward to watching the classic action at the Curragh on Sunday.